truth, we didn't think we'd need you mercenaries at all. But, unfortunately, what we hoped was going to be a relatively bloodless eviction of the Federation from our homeland has become an impossibility.
Presidia, Cascadia's capital, is falling. This afternoon, the first fully fledged Federation military units have come in from out of country to reinforce their garrisons here. Among them, a massive Federation naval fleet has secured a foothold in the capital. Independence Force Command planned this rebellion to have been timely enough to seize, hold, and place defensive positions in key territories within the country before their reinforcements came. Unfortunately, with the new wave of Federation reinforcements, Presidia's main urban centers have been lost, and we can't afford to lose any more manpower at the moment. A tactical retreat has been declared. Sicario, you, alongside other Allied forces, will cover an immediate evacuation of our troops still holding out on the ground. By land, by air, and by sea, we are extracting from Presidia. Protect the evacuation moving out of the AO by raising hell and taking out any Federation units that are pressing on them. If we lose any more men, we might not be able to continue fighting against the Federation.
Presidia is where the fighting started in Cascadia. However, we refuse to have it be where it ends. Not like this. Hitman team, we expect much of you in this coming time.
And welcome back, Flyboys.
Alright, so it sounds like we gotta just run interference while the others are trying to get away? Is that right?
Yes, but also, strangely, it's not like a requirement. I don't quite know like why they put it this way, but you just don't really have to protect much of anybody.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, there's just no like loss condition, I guess is the best way to put it. Today's mission, we're going to be playing as a SV-37, which I think is supposed to be the Vigan, if I remember correctly, or am I picking something else? I'm picking the Phantom. Essentially, like I've said before, for other planes, it's very nice that Project Wingman gives you the ability to choose a lot of different outfits, quote-unquote, for your plane. And your loadouts can really just be as personal as you want them and reflect kind of how you prefer playing the missions out. If you have, for example, in this mission, I think I take the multiple bombs, and those can be nice if there's a lot of units in clusters. Although, we'll get to see why that might also be slightly problematic.
Okay, okay.
Seems like the tactical retreat is in full swing.
Oh man, there was a Hitman 3 comic?
You know, I would like to see that.
Actually, wasn't there like a little mini comic series like called Birth of the Hitman for the World of Assassination trilogy?
I don't want to say you're wrong, because I'm pretty sure I remember seeing something along those lines.
Oh, no.
And now I just want to also have a comic book series about this game. Just give it like old Star Wars Rogue Squadron vibes, and you're good.
Yes, there is a comic series called Agent 47, Birth of the Hitman. Released November 1st, 2017.
So, much like in Ace Combat, special weapons such as the multiple lock-on anti-air missiles do let you target multiple aircraft, and they're just as overpowered in this game. One thing to also take note is that for missiles that can lock onto, or weapon systems I guess I should call them, that can lock onto multiple aircraft, you'll know when it's reloaded and when it isn't if it lets you target, or once it starts targeting multiple planes.
Okay, okay.
So at the very least, like when you're flying around with 4 different weapon systems and you're juggling them, it can be, you know, a little bit tough to kind of set yourself up properly. but you'll know like quite easily when it comes to that. Here I'm using the multiple bomb drop, but unfortunately I'm targeting a boat, and the boat moved, so I missed it.
Oh no.
But it gives you an idea of just how there's a lot of like personal touches on the UI for this game. Each bomb that's dropping has their own space, like their own little reticle that shows where they're going to explode and what damage they should do. And in a harder to see fashion, you actually get to see like the distance they are to their target. In this case, like the water / the ground.
That's kind of neat, actually.
It's just like those small improvements that like this one guy added to a system that is pretty much like an extended love letter to Ace Combat. Unfortunately, I'd like to show off more of the city and like fly through some stuff, bridges, etc., but it just doesn't really lend itself to that. The fog and very low cloud just makes it a little too improbable, and unlike Ace Combat 7, I think, started doing it, there's no checkpoints in this game, so anytime you die, you just restart the entire thing.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, when you start looking at like time codes on some of these missions, which I'm maybe at some point I'll speed them up a little bit, but that not being the case right now, when you have a 20-minute mission, including the briefings, of course, yeah, you might not always want to restart those. You sometimes have to just take a break.
Understandable.
And this this actually comes into play a little bit more in at least the next mission. Specifically because I was being very stubborn and figured I could do something, and yeah, we'll get to it when we get to it. And unfortunately for me, I just destroyed Highway 95 in Philadelphia or whatever it was.
Ah, man, not again.
You know, they didn't want to repair it, so I just gave them more work to do.
I gotta say, I really like the way the lighting off the sun is presented in this game. Like,
it's super nice on the clouds.
Yeah, and like the way it's just kind of reflecting off the plane as you turn around, like that looks real nice.
We can also see how in previous missions we had to deal or worked with Gunsteel Squadron, which is a bunch of friendlies, but you can also see that most of the other friendlies have distinctive names to them, not like unique names such as Comic and Diplomat or Wingman, but at least they'll be called like Stardust. I forget what the other ones are. I think one of them down there is marked Cruiser, but that's like a boat rather than some of the helicopters and other stuff that we'll see. I haven't watched ahead, or read ahead, I guess, more specifically with regards to the wiki, so I don't know if you actually lose a certain number of allies, the people evacuating, if it actually changes anything. Similarly, I don't know if there's some, if there exists like a perfect rating where you actually save everybody, and there's different text for that.
Right.
Sometimes I just get really annoyed that some missiles miss, so, you know, you just go with your guns.
Can't go wrong with old reliable.
All units be advised that Presidia police forces are experiencing infighting. Engage if necessary.
So the Federation invasion is such like a divisive topic that even because Cascadia and the Federation, for those who haven't been paying attention to the story or just where it's not explained, they're essentially working with each other. While one, Cascadia is essentially, like for the most part, independent, they do a lot of work with the Federation. They share facilities and some of that stuff.
Okay.
So we're learning here that the troops on the ground, some of the Federation troops are actually defecting to Cascadia because they don't follow with the war that's currently being executed. Which, the more I talk about this, the more I'm like, yeah, this is... Even a year later, it still seems surreal of what's going on in our world.
Yeah, I was gonna say, this sounds, not
a little too familiar.
Yeah, not close to home, but very topical.
Yeah, it's playing the same chords, as they say.
Yeah.
We've secured Technoids wherever we have income.
So we have some helicopters there. We passed some not C-130s or maybe C-17s or whatever. So as always, just there's more aircraft to defend, but not really an actual priority. It's always more important to kill planes, at least for most missions in this game.
Right, right.
Oh, and we're also super close to seeing, because you probably haven't seen them yet, Chaos.
Oh, yeah?
We've got special aircraft that we'll see soon enough.
Oh, my.
I know I didn't ask it in a previous video, but yeah, if people prefer this in terms of like viewing stuff, maybe not the lock-on camera, that I really have to like stop using. It makes it a lot harder to fly, unsurprisingly. But yeah, I tend to get a little sillier here with the lock-on camera. I'm not sure I want to use it all that much more myself, just because it makes it a little hard to like aim and, you know, shoot down your opponents.
Right.
He's engaging me. Knocked one out.
For anybody who's curious as well, anytime that I'm using like standard missiles and I blow enemies up with just one, it's because allies actually get to do things in this game and will oftentimes just like soften up like an enemy every once in a while. So
Okay.
you get to conserve your ammo from the regular like Ace Combat standard of 2 missiles per unit.
Gotcha.
I don't think it's obvious. It's a little obvious right now. For all of the different loadouts that you can actually do as well in this game, one thing that doesn't really stick out immediately is that we're already missing some of the weapons on our wings. So the multiple lock-on anti-air missiles that we normally have, they'd normally be on the outer pylons, so on the extremes, but they're gone because we use them all up.
Huh.
It's like, it's small little things like that that I just appreciate from this game.
Yeah, like that's a nice attention to detail that can actually be rendered.
So, Chaos, what do you think about Mother Bird over there?
I must have blinked and missed it.
We're back to super planes again. Or, I guess, like, giant... I don't even know what to call them. Air boats?
Huh. That's, certainly a way to go.
Yeah, it's what happens when you have, like, this super product or a super resource that doesn't have limitless energy, but provides more than what you'd get in real life.
Right, right.
Yeah, I actually didn't really think about that either. So we're trying to like protect the people, right? So we're evacuating a bunch of people, blah 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 blah. And the idea is like we're only evacuating this city so that we're coming back, right? Like we're gonna retake this and national pride and all that. Meanwhile, there's these giant, not even like aircraft carriers because they don't launch any other planes, that are, as we shoot them down, slowly coasting and like detonating nuclear weapons in cities.
Right.
We're hitting a suburb. It's all good. It's all good. Damn jamming.
That's the name of the local cannery over here.
I think it's been mentioned in the thread about how, big planes, they're a little annoying to take out sometimes because of where the weapon systems are on the aircraft itself. So if you're attacking from below and the system is above, you just can't hit it, so you got to go around. It's not so much a problem at easier difficulties, but as you can imagine, if you're being hounded by a million different missiles, it becomes a problem. And also that planes that are being shot down still have hitboxes.
Really?
So, yes. Not the smaller ones, or at least not... they don't have hitboxes, as far as I know, that would last long enough for you to be able to collide with them. There might be, like, the rare occurrence where it is possible. But against the what they call cruisers and battleships and whatnot in the sky, those ones do maintain their hitboxes. So you go in a little too fast with a super plane, and plane no more, as they say. And thankfully, you can't, as far as I know, shoot down Allied pilots, so you don't really have to worry about them flying in front of like 30mm cannon rounds being spewed out.
And you can't accidentally lock onto allies, right?
No,
Good.
Thankfully you
That's
cannot.
good.
Ace Combat and Project Wingman would be a lot more hardcore if it was the case.
Yeah, it's probably wise that friendly fire isn't a thing.
Yeah. Well, you could always kind of like hand wave it away too. You could say that the systems are smart enough. Like IFF, identify a friend foe, is a thing. Although, to my knowledge, not to the degree where you can completely prevent friendly fire strikes. You're just not really in situations like this where you're, dogfighting with 60 jets within 5 square kilometers.
Right.
I mean, you can see just like the spread of all the bombs. Sadly, like the clouds being so low really doesn't give you a view of, them blowing up.
Clearly, they should implement like the Hitman thing, where you get like a split screen view of the kill happening.
Oh man, I hadn't thought about that. That'd actually be really good.
Actually, yeah, that does sound pretty sick for this kind of game.
Yeah, like have the video occupy the minimap on the bottom left while they're dropping. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Project Wingman 2, call us.
or Ace Combat people.
Yeah, you know what? I'll take either one. So, for whatever reason, I noticed that there was a plane way far out here, and I was like, oh man, like maybe it's a special plane or whatever. It seems like it's trying to run away. And it's not marked a priority, so anything that's not marked a priority, as the name implies, you can finish the level without killing them. But I couldn't let my bloodlust not be satiated, so I had to chase down this poor guy, and I forget if I even kill him or not. We'll see in a second, but... so Allied just missed. That's why Gunsel Squadron is not the MVP.
Nice cutaway for the explosion there, though.
So the problem, obviously, is there's a priority, so I might have to fly all the way back. Some planes, it's not that much of a problem, but since we're still in the early game and I still want to show off as many different planes as possible, here we are. I was showing off in the last video with Crow using unguided rockets to take down fighter planes. I actually didn't think about it, but it would have been funny to try and use bombs against the battleship there, or cruiser, whatever. But it's only also viable, so I don't know if it would have worked. I don't actually know if there's hitboxes for bombs like in the air, and if they just like pass through stuff.
That is kind of a good question, actually. Yeah.
It's something for a future video, I'm sure. I'll have to like try and show off or whatever.
Yeah, like are they actual physics objects or are they just hit scan?
Like how much of the physics engine are you like? How much CPU are you dedicating to it? So with less fanfare than I would have thought, we've finished with the evacuation and we just fly back home.
Lost contact with our final units within Presidia, so we can only assume the worst. We just have to remember their sacrifice to cover our escape. During the evacuation, we...
Alright, Chaos, we need to salute here for their sacrifice.
Federation defectors
My
and
arm's
civilians
up.
who wanted to join up with us.
Thank you.
Proceed with the Federation.
Dismissed.
Presidia. We're at the brink right now, and losing the capital was a blow. But thanks to you, we can survive this. Stand by for your next op orders.